In this video, we're going to be building this landing page using Remix UI's free component library. So you guys can just create a free account and then you're going to be able to access the exact same sections that I can access, and we will together build the first few sections from this website. So I picked it from a random website directory, and what we're going to build is just the first few sections. So we're going to build this navigation, we're going to build this hero section, this video, this client logo slider, and this little content section that we have here. With that out of the way, as I said, you can make a completely free account in wisetemplates.com, and then you will be able to access the component and section libraries right here. Besides that, I have a brand new Framer project set up, and all I'm going to do in the beginning is just add our breakpoints so that we can start working on responsiveness straight away. Now, what I usually do when I start a new project is I first add our colors and heading and font styles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply take a screenshot of this first section, and I'm going to add that into Figma. So here in Figma, we will be able to see the exact colors that we'll need to replicate this design. I'm going to first pick the purple color. Then we're gonna get this black color, which I believe, okay, it's not completely black. Also, we're gonna take the background color because it's not completely white, and this neon green color as well. Now, once we have these colors, we can simply take their hex codes, go to assets, go to styles, and I'm gonna add our styles right here. So we have the purple. I'm gonna simply add it right here. Then we're gonna add the black color. By the way, you guys can skip around if you don't wanna watch me set up the project. You can skip ahead and get to the meat of this video. But I'm just gonna do it exactly how I would do it if I was building a project on my own or for a client. This is the exact process that I use. So if you want, you can follow along. I'm just adding the neon color, and we will be ready with our colors. Now, I know that this landing page is probably using a paid font. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add similar free Google fonts that we'll use to build the project. It's not going to be completely the same, but it's going to be similar enough. So for the heading one, actually, I have a plugin, Fonts Ninja, that we can use to see the exact font and also the font size. So this is Lion Display. The size is 102 pixels and it has -3 pixels letter spacing. So I'm gonna add a similar font that's free on Google Fonts. So we're gonna be using Playfair Display for the headline. So the sizing will be 102, letter spacing will be -3, and line height I'm gonna leave it 1.1. And then for the color, I'm gonna pick the dark color we just added, and I'm probably gonna do a medium font weight because this doesn't look to be that bold. In fact, it's a regular font weight, but we can adjust that later if it's needed. Then I'm going to add these links, which are actually using Roboto Mono, which I believe is a free font. So I'm gonna add a paragraph style. We're gonna call this navigation links, and we will see if this font is here. Okay, we have Roboto Mono. Then the settings are 13 pixels, line height is 100%, and the letter spacing is 1 pixel. So we're gonna do 13 right here. This is 1 pixel, so it's gonna be 0.1 EM, and the line height will be 1 EM, which is basically 100%. And then for the color, we're gonna pick the dark color once again. Now, other than that, we have this font here, which is again a paid font. So I'm gonna add another paragraph style, and we're gonna call this P. This is 18 pixels, so it's gonna be P18. And we're just simply gonna use enter here because it's the simplest font. That should be close enough to this. And then for the CTA font, we're also gonna add that. We're gonna add a paragraph, CTA, and we're gonna be using Roboto Mono. So right here, color will be dark. And let's see, what else do we have? It's 17 pixels and 1.7 pixels of letter spacing. So 17, 0.17 EM, and line height will be 1 EM. So it's basically the same line height as the size of the font. Now, below we also have a pre-heading and a heading 2. So let's add these as well. We're gonna add another paragraph. We're gonna call this pre-heading, and it's gonna be Roboto Mono 14 pixels. So let's search for the font. It's gonna be 14 pixels as we said. It's gonna have the dark color, and as well it has minus 1.9 pixels letter spacing, so minus 0.0. Okay, so just like that should be good enough, even though it doesn't really make sense because it looks like it has big gaps, but we're gonna leave it in the exact same way. Okay, it's bugging out a little bit, so I'm gonna refresh the website and run the plugin again. Okay, so this Roboto Mono, okay, it has 0.5 pixels. It's not minus, so it's gonna be 0.05 EM, and then line height we're gonna set to 1.4 EM. I think should be roughly the same as this. Now we're gonna add our heading 2. So heading 2 right here. It's gonna be play fair display 64 pixels. So play fair display. It's gonna be a dark color, and it's gonna also be medium 64 pixels. Line height, letter spacing is minus 1.1, so it's gonna be minus 0.1.9, so minus 0.19, and the line height is, I believe this is roughly 1.1 EM. So now we have our headings, we have our P18, we also have a P16, so I'm gonna simply duplicate this, and I'm gonna set the size to 16 pixels. My bad, this should be 18. So this gets called P16, and our setup is pretty much done. Okay, so now that we have our project set up, it's time to work on the navigation first. So first up we have this announcement bar. Now we do not have an announcement bar available, but this is pretty simple to build. I'm gonna click F on my keyboard and I'm gonna just draw a simple frame. I'm gonna set it first. We're gonna go to layers, desktop, we're gonna enable layout, and we're gonna remove the gap. And now I will set this to fill, and inside this will be called navigation wrapper. It's gonna have a layout, it's gonna be vertical layout, and it's gonna have 10 pixels of padding on each side. I'm gonna remove the fill color. I'm gonna make it slightly taller so we have more space to work with. And now inside of this frame, I'm gonna draw another frame. I'm gonna set it to fill, and then it's gonna have a radius of 100 pixels, so we get this pill shape. We're gonna add this purple color, we're gonna add a layout, and we're gonna add some padding. I think this would be like 16 pixels of padding roughly. And inside we will copy this text, and we're gonna simply paste it inside of our button here. And I'm gonna use the pre-heading style here to add it. It's gonna be white, and then this little link, it's going to have a link style that's gonna be white, but it's going to be underlined, and on hover we will do the neon color, and we're going to keep the decoration, and this one we'll set it to white. And now this is looking okay. It's kind of different, so we're going to use another heading style. So let's see, for the pre-heading I'm going to add a transform to uppercase, so it's uppercase. And I know it's a different font, but we're gonna stick with this one so we don't spend too much time on this. I'm just gonna increase the padding to 20 because I think that's closer to what we have. The navigation wrapper, I'm gonna set it to distribute start, so it goes to the top. And now we have our announcement bar ready. I'm just gonna set the width to fill, and then I'm gonna center it. And now we can start working on our navigation. So the navigation is pretty simple. We have a logo on the left, links in the middle, and then 2 buttons on the right side. So I'm gonna go to Remix UI to the sections library, and I'm gonna select the navigations filter. And we're looking for a similar navigation, which will be navigation 1 right here, which is again free to use. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna paste it inside of our navigation wrapper. And then we're gonna set the width to fill and the height to fit content. Now we're gonna double click it. We're gonna unlink and replace this navigation. And now we will work on the contents inside. So first I'm gonna download, using this SVG export plugin, I'm gonna download their logo so we can insert it into our navigation. There we go, our logo is in. I'm just gonna set the fit type to fit. And now I'm just gonna unlock the sizing property, and I'm gonna adjust it so it fits roughly the same size as we have on the actual website. And then, okay, for the navigation, what we're gonna do is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 links. So I'm going to duplicate one of these, and I'm going to double click the link component so we can start editing it. I'm going to remove the dark background option. Then we're going to adjust the settings right here. On top, we have some other links we can delete. I'm just going to enable light mode so we can actually see what we're doing. So first I'm going to select this, and I'm actually going to remove the fill color, and I'm going to remove the padding, and I'm going to do the same thing for the hover effect. I'm just going to remove the fill. And now what we have to do is simply add our font style that we have for the navigation links. So it's this, but we have missed one small detail. So our navigation link style should have a transform of uppercase, and this way it looks like what we have here. And I'm also going to decrease the letter spacing to something like 0.04. I think that's closer. And the hover effect, it has an underline, but what we'll do is we're just going to change it to a neon color. I know it's not optimal, but that's what we're going to do to save time on the video. Now, we have another drop-down arrow element here, and it has a visibility check that's set by default to be no. I'm going to set it to yes so we can see the arrow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double-click the arrow, and I'm going to simply change its color to the dark color so it's actually visible. And for the hover effect, I'm going to set it to the neon color. And now we can, again, click the visibility variable and set it back to no. So by default, it won't have an arrow, and if we want it, we can simply insert it. I'm going to go back to the navigation, and we will add our links. But first, I'm going to increase the gap to about 36. This first link is called products, so we're going to click once on our link and type in products right here. It does have a drop-down arrow, so we'll add it. This second link doesn't have a drop-down arrow. It says for employers. The link after that says for couples. The next one is resources. And finally, we have company. So these are all of our links. And now we have to work on our CTA button. So we already have a button that we can unlink and edit. So I'm just gonna do that. We're gonna delete the light modes. And now we will create this first button. So the text style, we're gonna set to our CTA text style. This is, again, a bit too much letter spacing. So we're going to do 0.017. I think that's closer to what we have. And again, we're going to add an uppercase transform. We're going to remove the arrow. And what we'll do is we will also increase the radius to 100. So it's completely rounded off. And I'm going to adjust the padding a bit. We have, I think, about 14 pixels of padding on top and below, probably even less. I think 12, and on the sides we have a bit more, like 24, I think. And then for the hover effect, we're actually gonna reset the fill right here, and we're gonna reset the border, and we will reset the font color. So we have the exact same, but we will instead add a shadow. So this shadow will have x-axis 4 pixels and y-axis 4 pixels. And the blur value will be slightly bigger, like 10 pixels, I think, is closer to what we have. And I'm actually going to increase these slightly as well, and we will decrease the opacity to about 8%. I think is closer to what we have here. And now if we preview this button, it does have a pretty similar hover effect to what we have on our website. Okay, our secondary button is done, and now what we will do is we'll actually duplicate the secondary button from the assets tab, and we're gonna call it just button because this will be our main button. It's gonna be black, so the fill color will be set to dark. Of course, a solid color. We're gonna remove the border, and then for the text inside, we'll set the color to white. And the hover effect is actually pretty similar to what we already have. And while we're here, we can also create our second CTA button, which is the main one. So this will be the dark variant. And then we're gonna add a new variant, and we're gonna call it green. And here, what we'll have is a neon background. The text will be dark, and then on hover, we will simply change the background to dark, and then the text inside will turn white. So just like that, we have our two main buttons that we'll be using. And now what I will do is also, I'm gonna remove the CTA style from here, and I'm gonna add a size property on both of our buttons. So this is gonna be called font size. I'm gonna remove the old font size, just like this. And we're gonna do the same on our main button as well. So we will remove this, and we're gonna add a font size variable. We're gonna remove the old one, and we will set this one. And what this will allow us to do is we can set this font size to 14 pixels, which is smaller on the navigation. And this first button says sign in. And the second one, which will be our main button, we're gonna paste right next to it. We're gonna decrease the font size, and this will say try origin. Okay, so just like that, we have our buttons ready. And this pretty much concludes our navigation. I'm just gonna check the mobile, and I think it's looking good already. I'm just gonna increase the gap here slightly, and I'm gonna set this to vertical direction. I'm gonna increase the gap, and both of these buttons I will make to fill width, so they're easily accessible on mobile. So our navigation is pretty much done. We can preview this and see how it looks. So if we go back, you see it's pretty similar to what we have on the original website, and we have our hover effects here. So that's it for the navigation. Now we're gonna move on to the hero section, but before that, a few other things we have to do. The navigation wrapper, we're gonna set the height to fit content, and I think we will also remove this gap. Actually, no, we'll bring it back. And what we'll do is we're gonna right click and create a layout template. We're gonna just call it a template, and this will be our navigation template right here. So what we'll do inside of the navigation template is we're gonna add breakpoints, and now what we'll do is we'll set the navigation on the tablet variant of phone and the navigation on the phone variant of phone, obviously. But also what we'll do is we'll decrease the padding here on the top bar to 16, and for the navigation wrapper on mobile, we're going to decrease the padding to about 8. I think will be nicer, and the gap will also set it to 8. So it doesn't take as much space. Okay, now that we're done with the navigation, we can move on to the hero section. We can go to Remix UI. I'm gonna select the hero section option, and I think this one is the closest to what we need. So I'm simply gonna copy it. I'm gonna paste it inside of our desktop breakpoint. I'm gonna set the width to fill. And now what we'll do is we'll simply double click to unlink this. Then we will go back to home. I'm gonna right click and detach this instance. And now what we'll do is we'll simply apply our style. So here we have our pre-heading. I believe we have a pre-heading here. Okay, we don't. So I'll remove this. Here I will apply our heading 1 style. I'm gonna center it, and I'm gonna copy the exact same content that they have here. So money management simplified. But what they've done is they have made this on a new row, and then below that we will have our P18 style, and I'm gonna copy this once again. We're gonna center it, and we're gonna decrease the max width to about 600, so it's roughly the same width as what we have on the original design. And I'm gonna insert our main button right here. I'm gonna Command X to cut it and paste it. I'm gonna delete this button wrapper, and we're simply going to pick the green variant right here. Our text is going to say try origin for free. So just like that, and in just a few seconds we already have our hero section done. Now what we can do with the heading styles is we can add breakpoints. So on tablet it can be 82 pixels, and on mobile I think 36 will look nicer. And just like this, we already have a responsive hero section. We still do have to add the video, but that's will be done pretty easily. And I just want to show you how this is already animated. It already looks super clean, straight out of the box from Remix UI. Now what we'll do with the video is first we will select the heroes/hero1 section. We're going to remove the right and left padding. Actually, we're going to bring it back, and what we'll do instead is we will take this image placeholder. We're going to click Command X to cut it, and we will paste it on the desktop breakpoint. We're going to remove the radius, and now what we have to do is we simply have to download this video. Okay, so I have this video download pro, but it doesn't allow us to download this video. So instead, what we'll do is, again, if we had access to the video, we could simply download it and import it. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take a screenshot so we can have roughly the same vibe as the website. And I'm going to go back in Framer. I'm going to add this image that I just screenshotted. We're going to adjust the height so it's a bit less taller, something like this. 560, I think, sounds better. We're going to lock it back in. We're going to remove the max width. And now what we have to do is add this radius, which I think is about 80. Okay, maybe 60, maybe even 40. Yeah, 40 looks about right. So if we preview this now, we have our video right there. So you can see how close we are already to the finished product. Now what's left to do is add these client logos. So we're right now going to do just that. We're going to go back to Remix UI and we will need to find a similar client logo section. So I'm going to click on client logos and we have a pretty similar component right here. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to go back and we're going to paste it in the desktop breakpoint. We're going to set its width to fill and we will drag it on the bottom right here. So it's below our video. And now I'm going to double click it, unlink it. And what we will have to do is first we're going to remove this bottom border. So we have the stack layer right here that has a bottom border. I'm simply going to click X to remove it. And now for here, I will use our pre-heading style. So it has the same font. And already just by doing that, we have this logo slider. Now you see this is moving slightly faster in its full width. So we will also fix that right now. So the stack inside should have a max width of 1200. I'm going to simply increase this to about 1800 and I'm going to select the ticker component that rotates the logos and I'll set the speed to 80%. And now if we preview this, you see how closer we already are to the actual website. Now next up we have this section that is pretty simple. This is kind of like a long form section. So what we'll do is we'll go back, we'll go to Remix UI. We have this long form section that you can simply copy and paste inside of the desktop breakpoint. Now sometimes it places it in the wrong position, so we might have to drag it down. But once we drag it down, what we're going to do is we're going to right click, unlink this. Then we're going to go back and detach the instance, and now we'll start working on making it look like this. So first up, I'll apply our style. So we have pre-heading here, it's going to be centered. We have heading 2 right here, it's going to be centered as well. We have a slight mistake on the line height, which I don't know why it's happening really. Okay, it's apparently messing with the letter spacing, so it's going to be minus 0.01. 8 probably, I think that's closer, and then we're going to center it. And then for the text, it's going to be the P16 style. It's going to be centered, and then we're going to copy this. We're going to paste it inside of our content field. And now what we have to do is work on this little slider. So we first will remove the button wrapper, and then I'm going to simply draw a frame. I'm going to Command X to cut it. I'm going to paste it inside of the container layer. We're going to set it to fill. We're going to add a layout, which will be horizontal with about 10 pixels of gap. I think should be nice. And then we will start adding our text. So I'm going to copy the pre-heading and paste it, but I'm going to set the grow to this setting, which basically sets it to fit. And now I will just copy the text. I'm going to copy this over 2 more times. Second one will have this text, and third one will have this text. In between each one, we have these little dots. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in, I'll click F, and I'll draw a simple frame right here. We're going to set it to 6 by 6, and the radius will be 6 as well, so it's rounded. And now the fill color will be dark, 12%, so it's roughly the same gray color, probably 20% will be closer. And I'm going to duplicate it once more. I'm going to drag it between the other text right here. And then I'm probably going to increase the gap slightly to 12 pixels. I think it's nicer. And after that, we just need to add both of these logos. So I'm just going to simply download them and add them into our project. Okay, so I just downloaded them, and what we'll do is we'll add them in the container stack. But first, we're gonna draw a frame right here. I'm gonna position it below the stack we just added. It's gonna be set to fill width. I'm gonna make it slightly bigger, remove the fill color, add a layout, make the gap like 60, and now I'm gonna insert our logos inside the framer canvas. Okay, our logos are right here. I'll cut the first one, paste it, cut the second one, and paste it right here. We're gonna set the height to fit content, and I think we are pretty much done, but this actually needs to have a height to fit content as well, and it needs to be closer to the text up top. So what we'll do is we'll open the content stack, and we're gonna add this inside of the content stack. And now we are almost there. So our font is slightly bigger, so it's in 2 rows. So I'm gonna slightly decrease it to probably 54. And now it's a lot closer to what we have. So just like that, in just a few minutes, realistically, we have a fully functional animated website inspired by what we have right here on this website that I found online. And you can see just how much easier Remix UI makes developing websites in Framer. In just a few minutes, you can have complete sections which are already responsive. But what we have forgotten to do is set the long form section to fill. Once we do that, and once we add a simple breakpoint setting to our font, our website is completely responsive. In this stack right here, we're just gonna enable wrap. And just like that, you see it's completely responsive on mobile in just a few minutes. If you want to try out Remix UI, you can once again use the free plan. We also have a free trial on the Pro plan, so you can take that, play around with it, and if you do decide you don't like it, you can simply cancel the plan. But if you like it and you enjoy using it, I'll be more than happy to see you use Remix UI. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.